Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name's Liz and this is Let's Get Lizical, where we do everything card making. Today is the end of the month, so we're doing the Get Creeping on Halloween challenge from Inky and Scrappy. I also have a giveaway to announce, but I'm going to do that at the end of the video, so watch through and you'll see it. Today we're going to be giving bridge cards a go, which I've never made before, but always kind of wanted to try. If you paused the video earlier, you can see the dimensions for the other two sizes. I kind of was like playing around with different layouts with this, but I ended up picking what I call a custom slimline. I like the 3.5 by 7 inch card size. It's kind of in between a mini and a full slimline, so it's not quite as much space to cover, but a little bit more than the mini. So if you want, you can go back and see the dimensions that I used for the other ones. Just like pause the video, screenshot it, write the numbers down, whatever. Those first two that I showed, I think, were for A2 sized, both landscape and portrait. But this one, we're going to be doing my custom slimline. So we're going to cut it 3.5 by 9 inches because you want 2 inches longer in the length so that you can make that into like a folded area for your card so that it gives it that depth of the bridge style. And also, tip here, ink blend your panel before you do any of your scoring, which is what I'm doing now. And I'm using Simon's Positively Saturated inks because I'll be able to splatter this with water as they are water reactive and get some texture out of it. And then I'm going to score it a bit later, but after it dries. I don't want to do it while it's wet. And we'll do other things in between. But just ink blend your panel first, because if you score it first and then try to ink blend it later, you'll end up with like darker areas around those creases and then they'll really stand out. So just make sure you do your ink blending first. That's all I can stress for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the bridge portion that will hold the card in place. So you want to cut that to your finished card measurement. So my finished card is going to be 7 inches in length. So I'm going to cut that 7 inches long. See, that's how your card will sit propped up. That extra 2 inches that we added to the length is just for the depth of the card. And when you fold the card down and put it into an envelope, it will be like 3.5 by 7 inches long. So make sure, I mean, you could cut it to the 9 inches. We're just going to trim it off later. That's okay. Or you can cut it a bit longer. It's probably better, I would say, to cut it a bit longer, because then when you fold your card and glue the pieces down, it might be a little bit easier to trim off, because it might not be exactly 7, which is what happened with mine. I'll show you in a bit. But first I'll explain what I'm doing now, and today I'm drawing. I didn't want to use the same MFT stamp set that I have for the ghosts because I wanted a bit bigger. The ghosts, the only other ones I have, I think, are the Mama Elephant Little Agenda ones, and those were going to be too small for this project. So I decided to draw my own. Ghosts are super simple to draw, guys. Don't be intimidated by them. It's just simple shapes. Like, I usually just like lightly draw a circle for the head, bring my lines down in some kind of swoopy motion, and then at the bottom you can either bring it to a teardrop shape, make some wispy lines out of it, or do like a scalloped edge like I did here, which I leave on one. The other one I ended up making into like a more of the teardrop shaped ghost. And then for the tombstones, I'm doing the same, just simple, like rounded off rectangle shapes and just keeping it small. For the line work, I'm just using a dollar store liner. The fine liners you can get at the dollar store are alcohol ink friendly for the most part. I would test it before you go ahead and call me out on it, but all the ones I've ever bought are alcohol ink friendly, but you can just like quickly do that as a test on a piece of paper. Just like scribble a few lines and then color over with your markers, which is what I did on that little white piece of paper just above me now. And if it doesn't bleed, they're good to go. So yeah, just get like the whatever dollar store brand ones they have. I think if you're at Dollarama, it's like Studio brand or whatever, and they come in like 12 or 24 packs even for like a couple bucks. but they're great for doing line work for alcohol ink coloring, which I've done for some artwork before too, if you want to keep it as a kind of no line coloring kind of thing, like match your colors of your lines up to the colors of your markers, then these work great. And then you'll get multiple colors for it. I think I showed it in a previous video when I did the hamsters as balloons, which I can link to the end of this video as well. But yeah, so I'm just added a bit of shading to these with some gray markers. I started with a gray cardstock base just because I thought it would be a little bit easier. And I'm still going to leave that bit of a border to it just because I like the look of that. Like I like the sticker look of the borders. And sometimes I color them in, sometimes I don't. If I feel like I want it to blend into the background a bit better, I will color them instead of trying to fussy cut along the lines. Sometimes I fussy cut along the lines. It all depends, guys. Each project is different and they all just, you know, transpire the way they do. But right now I just outlined my ghosts. I used a gray fineliner for this so it wasn't as stark black, and I'm just going to add very, very little shading to the one side of this because it is a ghost. I mean, you probably add a bit more, I don't know. I haven't really played around coloring with them. This is usually what I do, is just add a little bit of shadow and you're good. Probably add a bit more texture maybe, I don't know. And then this lovely scalloped border is going to get hidden, which is why I end up changing the design of the second one that I do. I ended up scrapping one of them. This one I am drawing it out like the other one. Then I realize I'm not going to be using that the way I had intended. I was going to do some of them, you know, out front of the tombstone, some of the behind, and you know what, I want them to look like they're coming out from behind their own tombstones maybe. So I just decided to draw it into a point at the bottom, and even that point is going to get cut off because it's a little too long. But that's okay. It's going to get hidden anyway. So yeah. Again, ghosts are super simple shapes to draw. So are the tombstones. You can get more complicated if you want. You could use your stamps if you want. Today, I felt like drawing. And maybe I'll do more of it in the future. I am, you know, tiddling around with some ideas on potentially doing my own stamps and dies in the future, so maybe I could do that. For now, I might do these as like a digital stamp set, which would be easy just to print out on an inkjet printer, and again, still color with your alcohol markers, no problem. But if I do that, I will definitely let you guys know when it's done. And if you're interested, let me know. Then I will get on it sooner. If no one's interested, maybe I won't. We'll see. I do kind of want to do it though, because I have been wanting to do the ghost ones for a couple years now, I think. Sorry, I'm a little rambly today, guys. I'm having to edit myself quite a bit. But now we're going to do the scoring, and you're going to want to score at 1 and 2 inches from either side. And right now I'm looking for my bone folder because I couldn't find it. Yeah, so we're going to fold it in and then fold it back out so that it lines up with the edge of the card on each side. And then once the card is, you know, finished, it will sit like this so that you have that 1 inch of depth, and then you have that 1 inch on each side of the panel for holding other pieces. This is the area that we are bridging. And I definitely want to try more of these cards. This was kind of fun to make. I feel like I could add a little bit more to this. Right now I'm adding a bit more stability to this because I am only using 65-pound cardstock for my goals. Which is fine. You could, if you wanted to, just double this layer up if you wanted a little bit more stability. I'm just gluing a separate strip on the back there. This one I had sitting on my desk for a few days, and because of the moisture in the air that we've had with the rain and the heat lately, it kind of like warped a little bit. So I ended up laying it down on the face of the card. So I had the black panel along like the top of my desk just to help flatten it out, which worked great. But if you want, you can just always use thicker cardstock, double layer it up, or just add that extra little bit, like I did here. So this is how the card will fold flat. The one side will come in and the other side will fold out, and then the finished measurement will be 3.5 by 7. And once the recipient gets it, they can like leave it out for that depth. When you're adding your bridge to it, I did it a little bit wrong. Like I tried to like cut it exactly to 7, and then glue it edge to edge, you know, kind of so that it would sit there. Let's do this properly and do it the same way we do my 3D box cards. Glue one side, fold the card the way it will lay flat, which is one side folded in, one side folded out, and then glue the other side. If you have to trim off a little bit, it's fine. So maybe even cut your panel a little bit longer than the 7, just because you know you're going to trim that off anyway. And then that way, if it's too short, you won't be stressing about it. And if it's too long, you can just cut it off, no problem. Which is what I did earlier. I fixed it that way because it was a little bit too long and it wasn't laying flat when I folded it. There was a bit of a buckle in it. But anyway, now we're stamping this moon from Altenew. I forget what it's called, but again, all products will be linked down in the description below. But it's a layering moon. So you get the solid background and then you get the like texture of the like mountains and craters and whatnot on the moon. And I'm just going to do that in a bit of a darker ink. So I think I'm using Flannel and Earl for Simon's Positively Saturated inks. And then I'm just going to fussy cut this out. Originally, I left a bit of a border on it, but I go around it again and cut it right up against the edge. And then I use one of my alcohol markers just to like kind of color in that area because it wasn't lined up 100%, which is fine. You can always fix things with alcohol markers. And then once that's done, we're going to end up stamping from, what is this stamp set called? One second, I have an extra one here. I have hand-lettered Halloween from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm gonna stamp the So Spooky sentiment in the darker Earl ink. This one doesn't come with a die, which I was kind of sad about. There's only like 5 dies included in the set, which is great. I love sentiment sets with like coordinating dies now. It just makes my life easier. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist sometimes. But this one we're gonna fussy cut it. Maybe I can set it up on my brother Scan and Cut, so I would like pre-cut it and then stamp it after, but we'll do that later. But that's pretty much it for today. We're gonna prop this up on some foam tape. I'm gonna use my glitter Stardust pen, add some kind of atmospheric dots into the background, and then on the tombstone and the ghosts, and then that's about it. Oh, and tip, if you get ink on the back of your panel like I did, just add another piece of white cardstock over it. It's fine. I just added it to the back panel and then the back of the 2 front panels, if that makes sense. Like I didn't add it to the side portions. I just added it to the back pieces. I don't care about the sides. But let's get on with today's winners. So I did a random draw earlier. I tried to film it, but something happened with my computer and it just decided not to do it. But the winners are Desiree Jones and Raven Scraps. So if you guys would like to email me at letsgetlizical@outlook.com, I'll add it down in the description down below. Let me know that, you know, you won and I will arrange with you to ship out the packages. They will be as per what I showed in my last video. And I'm going to add in a few extra little bits because I forgot that I had a little bit of things and maybe some cardstock as well. So I will try to get those shipped out either this weekend or early next week, depending on when you guys get back to me. And thank you again. I truly appreciate your support. Desiree, I know you leave comments on a lot of my videos and even my Instagram. I truly appreciate it. And I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my subscribers. Thanks for sticking around. Let's watch this channel grow some more, guys. So thanks again for joining me for today. And until next time, bye.